Step Out, Step In podcast, live on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribe today.
Step out, step into the world unknown. Leave your fears behind.
Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode 136 of Step Out, Step In podcast, live on YouTube and Facebook. I'm so excited to be here with you on this first Monday in the year 2026. And again, I want to welcome you to episode 136, the first episode in 2026 of Step Out, Step In podcast, the podcast that helps you step out of what limits you to step into what God has prepared for you. And I believe that in 2026, we have a lot in stock for each and every one of us. So let's get ready. Can you tell someone to tell someone that we are live? Just tell someone to tell someone that we are live this evening on this Monday, the 5th of January 2026. Okay, so let's do this, and if as you share, let me also share mine. Let's see here. Okay, just do it real quick, and let's get into this together. Okay. All right, I'm so excited, and if you can do me a favor, just give me thumbs up if you can hear me loud and clear. Just give me thumbs up if you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, all right, here we go. All right, so let's see. Let me share mine real quick. Let's do this. We're all in this together in 2026. And again, I want to say thank you for going alongside with me in 2025. We went through that journey together, and it ended well. And I believe we're going to do the same in 2026. I am so excited. I am so excited. All right, let's see here. Okay. And have you been able to share yours? Thank you for sharing. Okay. Let's see. Just give me one moment. Okay. All right. Okay, so again, thank you for tuning in into episode 136 live on YouTube and Facebook. And again, just as I rightly said, we are all in this together. So let's keep rolling. Let's keep rolling. You know, on this first day, or this first Monday of the year, and this first episode in 2026, episode 126. I would like to thank the Lord once again for the grace, the strength, and the ability to continue to host this podcast throughout the year. And as I rightly said, I want to wish every one of you a happy and an amazing happy new year. And ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, David Joe. Stay tuned.
Every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, join me as we dive headfirst into thrilling stories of personal growth, daring adventures, and transformative experiences. Get ready to be motivated, inspired, and empowered to live your life to the fullest. So mark your calendar, set your alarm, and get ready to step out, step in with me every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss out on the adventure of a lifetime. Subscribe now, and let's step into the unknown together. This is Step Out, Step In. The journey begins here. Step Out, Step In podcast, live on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribe today.
All right, again, thank you for tuning in to episode 136 live on YouTube and Facebook. And tonight we'll be talking about smooth takeoff. I remember in episode 133, we talked about the smooth landing. We had journeyed all year and we wanted to land smoothly, a lesson we learned from pilots. And we want to do the same to have a smooth takeoff in 2026. Lesson we can also learn from pilots. And tonight is going to be a wonderful time. So, with these few minutes here together, please stay put, stay tuned. Um, Grab something, find a comfortable place, and let's get into this together. And I always want to start by asking a question that have you ever sat on a plane, buckled up, listened to the engine on hum, wondering, will the takeoff be smooth? I don't know how many of you have sat on an airplane and thought about that. I do most of the time. I anticipate a smooth takeoff. You feel the aircraft taxi smoothly. You hear the pilot's calm voice come over the intercom and announce the welcome you on board a flight, where your destination is going to be, at what altitude they're going to be cruising at. They tell you how the weather looks like, and they assure you of a smooth flight. Then suddenly you hear the power, the engine starts rumming, the airplane begins to accelerate. Your body presses back into the seat, and within seconds, you're airborne. And here's my question for you today, ladies and gentlemen. What if life in 2026 could have a smooth takeoff? What if instead of rushing, guessing, panicking, and repeating the same cycle, you could lift up with clarity, with confidence, and direction? You know, one thing I know about pilots is they don't take off randomly. They don't guess. They don't rush the runway. And if you're honest, many people, many people struggle in life, not because they lack potential, but because they skip preparation required for liftoff or takeoff. So today, on this Step Out, Step In podcast, we're going to be talking about smooth takeoff, what pilots can teach us. Because if pilots can safely carry hundreds of lives into the air, and into the air, with so much discipline, you know, uh, discipline, their mindset depend on their systems. I believe that they can also teach us how to elevate our lives. So take a deep breath, ladies and gentlemen, and clearly, uh, uh, I mean, separate yourself from anything that can be a distraction. Clear your mental runway, and let's prepare for a smooth takeoff. So let's dive into this. Let's dive into this. If you're just joining us, I want to welcome you to episode 136, the first of the year. This first Monday, January 5th, 2025. And again, I welcome you. Just tell somebody to tell somebody that we're live. And if you happen to watch the replay, let us know where you are watching from. All right, so as we dive into it, number one is every smooth takeoff starts with pre-flight checks. Every smooth takeoff starts with pre-flight checks. Before any airplane ever moves, pilots conduct a pre-flight inspection. They do the inspection on the exterior part of the airplane, and once they get into the cockpit, they make sure to check the fuel levels. They check the engine conditions, the navigation systems, the weather report, the weight and balance. They don't skip the steps, even if they've flown the same plane, the same route 1,000 times. Why? And I'm glad you asked that question. It is all because what you don't check can cost you later. Now think about your life as you have entered 2026. Have you done a personal pre-check, a personal pre-flight check? And these are some of the questions I want you to ask yourself. Am I emotionally healthy? Am I mentally focused or mentally fatigued? Am I carrying unresolved issues? Do I have enough fuel to sustain my goals? And you know, many people want a new year, but they don't do a self-assessment. The fact that the calendar turned doesn't mean that things are going to turn in your favor. Things are going to change in your favor. You have to enter the new year with a new you, going through all these assessments and making sure that you are aligned to the plans and the purposes of the new year. Many people want elevation without evaluation. A smooth takeoff requires honesty, ladies and gentlemen. So before you accelerate in 2026, before you accelerate in 2026, I want you to pause and inspect. Just hit the pause button and inspect. What are we inspecting? We are inspecting our habits. Inspect your habits. Inspect your mindset. Inspect your relationships. And inspect your priorities. Because clarity, ladies and gentlemen, on the ground prevents confusion in the air. Do you want me to say that again? And you can probably X that. It used to be tweet. If I had, you can X that. That clarity on the ground prevents confusion in the air. So number one is every smooth takeoff starts with pre-flight checks. Number two is clearance must be received before acceleration. Now, before even the pilot starts the engines of the airplane, they request clearance. They request startup, and after they've started the airplane, before they move from the gate, they also request pushback to have the airplane pushed from the gate. No pilot takes off without clearance from air traffic control. That is one thing that you and I will have to understand and consider. Even if the runway is clear, even if the plane is ready, even if the pilot is experienced, they always seek advice and request from air traffic control. They wait. Why? Because timing, ladies and gentlemen, matters. Timing matters. In life, many people rush into things they were not cleared for. Relationships they weren't ready to handle, opportunities they weren't prepared to sustain, decisions made out of pre how do I say it? Decisions that were made out of you know, they made it too quick. They didn't think through those decisions, instead of purpose. A smooth takeoff in 2026 means learning how to wait for alignment, not just excitement. Clearance comes through, number one, through wisdom. Clearance comes through prayer. It comes through counsel. It comes through inner peace and also proper timing. If it is forced, it's probably premature. If it is rushed, it's likely unstable. So don't confuse movement with progress. The fact that you're moving doesn't mean you're making any progress. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is wait until the signal is green. You gotta wait until the signal is green. So number two, clearance must be received before acceleration. Number three is alignment with the runway is non-negotiable. Alignment with the runway. You know, planes don't take off sideways. They are aligned straight on the runway. Even a slight misalignment can cause instability at high speed. You know, when they push, when you push the throttle to full, it really rams the engine to full speed. Alignment in life means your values matches your actions. Your goals match your capacity. Your direction matches your purpose. You cannot expect a smooth takeoff while living misaligned, ladies and gentlemen. Saying one thing today and doing the other tomorrow, it doesn't work. Wanting growth but avoiding the discipline to grow, and praying for change while repeating the old same patterns. And I believe that sometimes that is one of the most dangerous places you and I can find ourselves, when we keep repeating the same old patterns, not learning from it. But 2026 requires alignment. If you can say that to yourself, or if you can write it somewhere, that 2026 requires alignment. So I am going to align myself. And what are you aligning yourself to? Time with your priorities. So know your priorities, ladies and gentlemen, and invest time in it. I said the other time that we are so much used to majoring the minor and minoring the major. We set so much time aside to focus on the things that are not necessary, but the things that are so necessary, so impactful, so important, we apportion so much little time to it. Energy with what matters most. Invest your energy in what matters most. And if you have high energy in the morning, invest that energy in the morning in what matters most. If your energy is high in the evening, do that. And focus with where you are going. There's a journey ahead of us in 2026. Don't put your life on a default that you repeat the same cycle over and over and over. You know, sometimes I tell people that if you do it that way, life gets boring. I mean, you go through the same cycle. Make adjustments, make changes. I mean, there's so much on the inside of you. There's so much capacity. There's so much, how do I say it? There's so much that God has invested in you. So take your time and focus on it, and step out and step into what aligns with your plans and purpose. So when alignment is right, acceleration becomes safe, ladies and gentlemen. Where alignment is right, acceleration becomes safe. Number four is full thrust. Full thrust is applied only after preparation. No pilot takes off on the taxiway. Pilots don't gradually hope or the plane is going to lift off. At the right moment, at the right speed, they apply full thrust. But notice this. They only apply maximum power after everything is checked and aligned. Once they get to the threshold, they make sure they check everything before they push it into full thrust. SP, they check everything. I mean, they don't take anything for granted. It doesn't matter how experienced the pilot is, how many times he's flown, he or she has flown the same airplane to the same destination. It is something they don't cut corners on. And this is where many people get it wrong. They give full effort to the wrong things. They give full effort to the wrong people and the wrong reasons. A smooth takeoff in 2026. A smooth takeoff in 2026 means knowing when to give full commitment. Once you've checked yourself, received clarity, aligned your direction, then give it everything. Give it everything. It is not going to be easy, ladies and gentlemen, but it is going to be worth it. There are days that you lose sleep. There are days that you feel so fatigued, so exhausted. I mean, but give it your all. Give it your full attention. No half-hearted goals, no divided focus, no inconsistent efforts. When the time is right, commit fully. When the time is right, commit fully. So number 4 is full trust is applied only after preparation. And number 5, liftoff feels uncomfortable at first. I don't know about you, but anytime you get on an airplane and it takes off, once it lifts off, it feels uncomfortable. And here's something interesting about takeoff. Have you realized that it is loud, it is fast, and it is uncomfortable? Your body feels pressure, your ears pop, your heart races. And growth feels the same way. A smooth takeoff doesn't mean it doesn't mean uh, you're not going to be discomfort. It doesn't mean discomfort. It means controlled discomfort. So don't make unfamiliar, pressure failure. Don't abort your takeoff because it feels different. Elevation always feels strange at first. But what I'll tell you tonight or today is stay committed, stay focused, trust the process. Do you want me to say that again? Stay committed, stay focused, and trust the process. One thing that I know is God never promised us an adversity exemption clause that as you go through life, life is going to be easy and cozy. No, we go through stuff. But that is where you have to stay committed to your purpose. Stay focused, and you have to trust the process. Every day is not going to be Christmas. There are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be turbulent moments. As you lift up, you experience turbulence. Sometimes it looks like there's a drag and the plane is coming down, but it's climbing. So number 5 is liftoff feels uncomfortable. Liftoff feels uncomfortable. Number 6 is climb requires monitoring, not panic. Climb requires monitoring, not panic. After takeoff, pilots don't relax completely. They don't enjoy the luxury the passengers have in the back. They can be watching their movies, listening to their songs, reading their books, or doing all kinds of things, and sometimes, and entertaining themselves and drinking and all that. They don't. They monitor altitude, they monitor speed, they monitor direction. In life, early success can be dangerous if unmanaged. As you and I rise in 2026, as we climb through 2026, I want to say that let's stay humble, let's stay disciplined, and let's stay teachable. It doesn't matter how much you know, make yourself teachable, because there's always someone who knows more than you do. And if you remain teachable, you can learn from anybody else. You can learn from, that is why God said in the book of Proverbs that we should go to the ant, that small insect, that tiny insect, and go learn wisdom. He never talked about the big five. He never talked about go learn from the elephant, the rhino, the buffalo, those big animals. But he says go to the ant and learn from the ant. So smooth climbs requires awareness, ladies and gentlemen. Growth without monitoring leads to burnout. And that is a place you don't want to be in 2026. You don't want to be burnt out. Momentum without discipline leads to crashes. Check your gauge regularly and make that assessment, make that adjustment. So number 6 is climb requires monitoring, not panic. The last but not the least, number 7 is turbulence does not cancel the destination. Turbulence does not cancel the destination. Every pilot expects turbulence once you lift off. Every pilot expects turbulence. They don't panic. They don't turn around. They adjust altitude and stay the course. And if you can hear me or hear this clearly, the turbulence in 2026 does not mean you're going the wrong path. Challenges are not confirmations of failure. Resistance is not a sign to quit. It is for you and I to stay seated. It is you and I to stay focused. And it is for you and I to trust the process. The destination is still ahead, ladies and gentlemen. The destination is still ahead. I know and I believe that 2026 is never ever going to be like 2025. It's going to be amazing. But much more depends on you and I as we journey through this year, as we climb through to maintain our flight level, and as we journey through 365 days. Already we've spent 5 days, so 360 days remaining as we journey through. I believe that the flight is going to be amazing. Yes, there are going to be turbulent moments, there are going to be hiccups, but stay the course. Trust the process. Stay focused and stay seated, ladies and gentlemen. So in closing, ladies and gentlemen, I believe you've enjoyed this time together. Just share with at least one person. Even after we're done, just go on and share. By the way, if you want to get a clear picture of this, see some images or some pictures of the cockpit of the airplane and all that, you can go back to episode 133 and just listen to that and share that as well. All right. Okay, so let's see here. So in closing, in closing, a smooth takeoff is intentional. A smooth takeoff is prepared. It's aligned and it's disciplined. As you and I have prepared for 2026, or if you haven't fully prepared, it is never late. It is better late than never. So you can start preparing even as we are in 2026. And I want you to remember this, that don't rush the runway, don't skip the checks, don't fear the pressure, and don't panic in turbulence. You and I were designed to rise, but rising requires a readiness, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to give you this, every week. I want to give you something you can work on. And as we close today's episode 136 of the Step Out, Step In podcast, here is your challenge, ladies and gentlemen. This week, I want you to personally do your pre-flight check again. And this is what I want you to write down. Write what needs to be inspected in your life as we journey through 2026. Write what needs to be realigned with your plans and purposes, most especially the plans and purposes for your life, and what you need clearance on before moving forward. Maybe there's a business you want to start. Maybe there's a book you're writing, or there's a song that you want to produce. Just think about it. Keep praying about it. Once you get a clearance, ladies and gentlemen, don't wait on it. Because waiting on it can also affect a whole lot of things. It can delay. Just imagine an airplane at the threshold getting ready for takeoff. They've been cleared to take off and they delayed. Are there other planes which might be using the same runway as they are coming in? And once they take off, they might have to let the other planes that are coming to land abort their landing. It's going to cause a delay and all that. So once you get a clearance, take off. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Because I know one thing, that God is in the situation with you and I. In Isaiah 43, he made some declarations and some promises that when you go through, whatever you go through, when you go through the waters, he says, I am with you. When you go through the fire, I am with you. Whatever you go through, God is in the boat with you. He's in the situation with you. He hasn't brought you thus far to cut you loose, to disown you, to let you go on your own. He is in there with you. So again, if this episode spoke to you, share with someone who needs a smooth takeoff in 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, subscribe, leave a review, and remember that as you have stepped into the new year, take off with intention. Until next time, step out and step in. And again, I want to wish every one of you a happy and a very productive new year. Again, until same time next week, God willing, stay blessed. As always, this has been your host, David Joe. I love you, and there's nothing you can do. Goodbye.
Step out, step into the world unknown. Leave your fears behind, watch how you've grown. Challenge Challenge yourself, break free, and begin to find the purpose within. Step in, out of your comfort zone. Step into the light where your potential shone.